Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to do an overview and demo of Kan.bn, or you can just say Kanban. I guess maybe that's what they're trying to say. Or it could be called Kan. I'm not actually sure how to pronounce this, but it's a Kanban app and it's located at kan.bn. And it's also got a GitHub page, which I'll show you. And it says it is the open source alternative to Trello, a powerful, flexible Kanban app that helps you organize work, track progress, and deliver results all in one place. And you have two options basically to run the code on their servers, or you can set up your own server. I won't show you how to set this up in this video, set up your own server, but I'll show you how to use it in this video using their cloud servers. And again, this is located at kan.bn. And I think if the BAN domain was available or domain extension, they probably would have gotten kan.ban. And it says here Kanban reimagined, simple visual task management that just works, drag and drop, cards, collaborate with your team and get more done. And this is information about pricing. And so here are a few FAQs. What makes an open source Trello? Why make an open source Trello? It says when Trello launched in 2011, it blew everyone away with its carefully designed simplicity, but over time, it lost its magic and grew into something closer to Jira Lite. And it gives some more useful FAQs. Now what I want to do is show you the GitHub page, just so you know. So this is the GitHub page for this software, and it says it's the open source project management alternative to Trello. So again, I don't know if this software is called Kan, K-A-N, or Kan.bn. Probably both are fine, and it gives some features and some screenshots. And this is some software that it's made with. And note that it's mostly made in TypeScript and JavaScript and these other ones. And I think it might also be made with React. It has React email, and I don't know if the front end is with React as well. So anyway, this is how you can set it up if you're interested to set up your own server. But I'll show you now running it on their website. So again, you go to kan.bn, and then you'll make an account. And then once you have an account, it'll look something like this, and then you have a workspace. So for example, I might call it Watson Tech World Workspace. So that's the first thing you do is create a workspace. And then workspace is basically the highest level. You can have other workspaces as well, but to actually do anything useful, you have a workspace and then you create a board. And let's call this, I'll call this to do, or it's called doing, to do, and done board. So kind of like if you're familiar with GTD or Getting Things Done by David Allen. Anyway, so this is what I called the board, or maybe I can just, and you can just, you can change the name of the board, double click, and then type up like this, productivity, I'll call it productivity board. And right now you have no lists. The first thing to do is create a list, and the lists are going to be these, the big vertical things. So for example, doing now. So create a list, doing now. And then you have the option to create another if you want. I'll do that in just a moment. So I'll make that first one, and then you can create a new list. We'll call it to do. And then I'll click on here, create another, so it automatically will tell me to ask for the next one. Done. Create list. And then we can stop creating lists now. So for example, doing now, and then once we have the lists, then we create cards. So for example, make a video on Kan.bn. So make a card like that, And we also have the option to create another if we want. I'll do that in a moment. Create a card. And I just made a card, and then let's say, for example, doing now, let's say, and then, for example, in to do, let's say to do, upload video, and then let's say make title, description, etc. And that would become before that. And then, for example, make thumbnail, image. Okay, those are things to do. And usually in the, I would make it in this order. So I'd have the title, description, and then the thumbnail, and then upload the video. And then, for example, log the URLs of the videos I post. And then, for example, add URLs to database, okay, and so on. And let's just say productivity today, apply to jobs. That's something I've done today, or apply to a job, and let's say plan video idea. Okay, so these are things I've done today, and this is doing now is making a video on Kan.bn. To do, I'll move these here. So after I'm done with this video, oh yeah, and then for example, I need to back up video. So that would be the next thing, and then get audio transcription with OpenAI Whisper. Yeah, I usually get the transcription with software called Whisper. So these are things to do for the video. This is what I'm doing now. And this is random things I've done today. I applied to job, I planned video idea, and more. Okay, so we'll go back to the productivity board. Now, let's go. Now I want to show you specifically on cards. You can move the cards around. So you can drag and drop the cards, which I think is really cool. You can move like this, move this card here. Let's say, for example, maybe I already backed the video up. I don't know. Or doing now, maybe eventually I'm done with this video, and then backup video could be doing now. Or maybe make a video on Kanban. Kan.bn is something that I've done. Okay, so this is something I'm not sure why it's hard to, okay, move around like that. So for example, let's say backup video, that's something I'm doing. If I'm done with that, I'll move this back here. And something that's kind of cool too is that you can drag and drop the lists themselves. For example, let's say I want the to-dos to be the leftmost. And then let's say done is in the middle for some reason, doing now is on the right. You know, you can do that if you want. And let's make another board. Let's say temp board or temp list. So we can do temp card 1, and I'm just gonna I'll make these lists and then I'll delete them. I'll just show you deleting them in a moment. Go back to the board, and then temp card 2, create a card. And let's create multiple cards. Temp card 3, temp card 4. Okay, and we can move this stuff around. For example, let's say temp card 1 can be moved around. And now I want to show you deleting cards. So for example, let's say we're done with the card, we don't need it anymore. We can, I'm pretty sure there's a way to delete it. Okay, yeah, so we have the 3-dot icon, you can delete card. It'll say, are you sure you want to delete this card? This action can't be undone. Then you can cancel or delete, and I'll delete it. And then, for example, I'll move this here, and let's say I want to delete this one for some reason, I don't know. And then you can also delete entire lists. So just click on the three dot icon, and then you can either, it says add a card or delete. I'll delete the list, and it says it can't be undone. And I showed you before you can add cards this way, but you can also add a card this way. So there's basically two ways to add a card. Temp card 5. Okay, again, we can move it around. And let's delete this entire list. Okay, so I prefer actually to have doing now be the left side, so I'll do it like that. And then let's say to do is on the right for some reason and done is here. Now let's go into individual cards. So for example, make a video on Kan.bn. You can add a description and you can add a comment. So for example, first card comment. You can add a comment, first card comment. Make a good video, 15 minutes or less, about Kan.bn. And that is the description. And there's no save. I think it saves automatically. And to go back, you can just click on the board name like this. I called it productivity board. And you can find a description you made already. Make a good video, 15 minutes or less, about Kan.bn. And then we can see the comment. So I think comments would be most useful if you're working with multiple people. I'm just doing with this by myself, but if you were working with other people, I think that's where comments would come to be useful. And for boards, you can work with other people, but since it's just me, that's not really that useful. But if you're collaborating with other people, you can do that. And then, for example, apply to a job, give it more details. Let's say annoying, I don't know, applying online to a job. That's a comment, for example. And again, you can see the comments, and you can also delete comments, or you can edit comments. And it shows you the timestamps, or at least it shows you minutes before, which I think is quite useful. Okay, I don't have that much time left, so I want to show you something that I think is kind of useful, which is labels. So for example, we can call it jobs. So you can create a label jobs, you can create a label maybe personal, and you can pick different colors for the label. For example, we can use orange, and I'll create one more label. Let's say, for example, work, a work label. Maybe you want it pink or some other color. It doesn't really matter. You can say family. Let's say you have a family or friends. Let's say family, friends, and you can have that be blue. Okay, so right now it doesn't actually add the label, but let's just say jobs and work. I just give it a label of jobs and work, and let's say I'll give this label jobs and work. Okay, and then later you can, I think you can filter by the, I'm not sure if you're able to filter by these, but let's try here. You might be able to filter by, I think maybe you can, I'm not sure. But yeah, so I think this is quite useful. And to me, this would be one of the biggest things that would be nice to improve is the ability to add more colors, like color for the card and for the list. Okay, now I want to talk about the pros and cons. So this is a list of the pros and cons I made. It's open source, which is a pro. You can host it on your own server or use their servers, which is a pro. It's a good alternative to Trello, Weekon, and so on. Has good features. Cons, it's limited with colors. The UI could be improved. Drag and drop isn't always easy. And I come up with this idea of things that would be nice to add. For example, being able to export your data, plugins, checklists, and more, and maybe Markdown support. But overall, I think they've done a great job, and they've probably put quite a lot of effort into this. So I think the team has done a great job so far. So if you want to try a new Kanban software, you can check out Kan.bn. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe or follow this channel. See you in the next one.